After enduring the bitter experience that's called the safari last evening, we came back, had our dinner, and I was chatting with the Chinchus. They were talking about the Darga, which is around 4 kilometers, roughly 5 kilometers into the jungle. They said that nobody walks around the place. They don't go to the Gudem after 7 in the dark, at least not by walk or a bicycle, only a motorcycle. People have had many close encounters with bears and sometimes with leopards. Leopards, they just hop around, that's all. They're no threat, but bears, that's a different story. I mean, it attacks, it chases people even on a motorcycle. So people generally do not venture after 7:38, after dark. And pissed off with the lackluster safari, I said, okay, let me take a ride into the jungle by myself. So I did. The Gudem is near the Darga, and I wanted to go see the Gudem, talk to the Chenchus there, understand their lifestyle. Also, I wanted to take this trip once in the daytime so that I can make a trip again in the night to see how thrilling and adventurous the ride would be, or possibly catch an animal or two.
I think this is where the safari begins.
I had always wanted to ride to Sri Salem through the Nallamalai uh, ever since the 80s, but unfortunately during those days the Naxalite issue was uh, quite high. Uh, I wouldn't call it an issue, frankly. I had this curious um, interest to meet Naxalites. I kind of appreciate their lifestyle, the philosophy they have. But it got diluted over the years, I understand that, possibly because of lack of true leadership.
Wow, slippery.
Nallamalai, NSTR, is the largest tiger reserve in India. Of course, it's got split into two thanks to the division of states, Telangana and Andhra. But I mean, they started this tiger reserve quite a while back. The camping, the safari started a year and a half ago. Very, very, very minimal. Every single thing. There's no service, namesake service. The Chenchus are they are badly utilized. They have no idea what they are doing in the jungle. You talk to them. Everybody is afraid of something. They have no understanding of why they are afraid, but they're just afraid. That's all. And this nonsense, the pollution. I mean, people going into the Darga on Thursdays, especially, they have huge crowds coming on autos and even trucks. These folks, I mean, they blast the music and it's nasty. I'm a guy who loves to go visit the temples and dargahs, other places of worship within the jungles. I understand that, but I think it's a privilege to go through the jungle. I think everybody has to serve, volunteer, do some work, at least for a few hours. That gives them a pass or a right temporarily to go into the jungle to conduct their business, worship, whatever they do want to do, and then get back. That way, they'll respect the jungle and they'll not mess around like this. I mean, this place, Sri Salem, imagine in the month of March and April during Telugu New Year and what is it, and Shivaratri, lakhs of people, at least 500,000 people walk through the jungle in 3 days. You can imagine the mess they would make. None of them have an understanding. They think it's their right to walk through. It's a privilege, and they have to earn it. The forest department should make them realize that they have to do some kind of volunteer work, contribute towards the jungle, so that
Everywhere
they can
acacia
get the right
trees.
of way to go
More
into the
like an
jungle.
acacia jungle here.
It's the jungle crow. You hear?
This is the
They have a
Darga.
glossy, all black, heavy black body and a very heavy black bill with a sharp tip, without the arching. What do you call it? Call them. Their, the cawing sound is not unlike the Indian house crow, but it's more guttural. It's more grating.
हम इतना नहीं ले सकते डायबिटिक है धन्यवाद
This woman, she abandoned her child and she's pissed drunk. It's really sad to see tribals totally surrendering to alcohol. Their lives are completely lost. Sad. Very. I mean, they hardly have any employment, proper education, no social absorption into the common society. They are They are differentiated in every possible way. They are marginalized completely, and we call them rehabilitated. Crazy. Let me quote Jim Corbett. Milk is the strongest drink that has ever been served at this shop or at any other of the hundreds of wayside shops throughout the hills, for except for those few who have come in contact with what is called civilization. Our hill men do not drink. Drinking among women in my India is unknown. That that's Jim Corbett in his books. Imagine that. It's a shame what happened in the last 100 years. All these tribals are driven out of the jungles, and they're all addicted to alcohol. I have not seen a tribal community not addicted to alcohol. I mean, it's sad. The current generation is getting far better. They don't drink as much. They don't abuse their lives, but they have better opportunities in life. So they understand that they can get out of the jungle areas and go seek employment elsewhere. I think they are getting trained in other areas too. All by themselves, I don't see that the government is really lending a hand to them. At the most, the government would teach them how to use forest produce to make some crap that can be sold. I mean, it's their lives are dependent still on forest economy, but with the middlemen called the forest department. It's a shame. They are uprooted, they're put somewhere outside, call it rehabilitation, but they don't have access to what they had access earlier. Thanks to us, we we encroach the forest, we deforest, we knock off the trees, mine out. It's sad, and then they pay the penalties. They are not allowed to stay where they are. I mean, I understand that they are multiplying like rabbits, frankly. Yeah, I understand that. The forests are shrinking, the people are growing, the tribals are growing. Life is difficult, I understand that. But if you want to rehabilitate them, bring them out, make sure that they get good education, and they learn some good skills. They have proper what can I say, equal opportunity, and most importantly, social status. I mean, social equality. That that eludes them. It's awaits them. Fuck. That's sad. That's really sad. They don't have any respect. I don't see any Chenchu treated right anywhere outside their villages. In towns, they get cheated left and right. Any tribal for that matter. I've traveled across the breadths and lengths of multiple tiger reserves in India, multiple forest tribal societies. None of them have the respect that they deserve, just like you and me. Nothing more, nothing less. What do they have? We gave them two things: alcohol and television, cable television. That really has messed them up. Let me rant a little bit about the temples or the places of worship within the jungles. Inside the jungle, think about it. 100 years ago, just 100 years ago, there were 100,000 tigers, is what they say, or 200 years ago, right? Now, 100,000 tigers, and the forest area now it's what, hardly 5%. Maybe it was 10, 15, 20. I don't know how much it was. Maybe 50%. I don't know, but think about this. The population must not have been too much, not as much as we have today, at least possibly half, less than half. I don't know how much, but think about it. They must have had temples all over the place, everywhere in India in those days. And with forests everywhere, I'm sure most of the temples would fall within the jungles, within the perimeter of the jungles. Now, everybody used to go into the jungles and stuff with 100,000 tigers, other. But today, the forest is hardly 3 to 5, 4% forest area. I'm not talking about the green cover nasty stuff, but think about it. There's hardly any forest, there are hardly a handful of tigers left compared to what we had then. Now, you cannot have the same number of people walking into the temple, Sri Salem temple, walking through the jungle, 5 lakh people over a period of 3 days. That's meaningless. Look at this truck full of people. They have no respect for anything. That's because they have no understanding of what the forest is. What if the forest department's mandate that these people, those who seek to go into the jungle for their worship or any other business, they need to contribute, volunteer some hours, or possibly pay some money. But money is nothing. They need to spend some time in the jungle, contribute, so that they understand the value and they develop respect for the jungle. They understand the conservation standpoint, what they need to respect. Once that gets into the minds of people, then I think the forest would preserve by itself. I mean, conservationists do not have much work after that, because imagine you conserve the forest department takes care of Sri Salem jungle for months together. Just within 2 months, almost 10 lakh people, that is a million people, walk through the jungle over a period of 5 or 6 days. Imagine, none of these people have any respect. When I say none, you understand whom I'm talking about. Not every single one of them. Let me quote another example: the annual pilgrimage into the Keralian forest, which is the Ayyappa temple. Imagine the people. They, they mess up the forest within a short span. I have known people who have come back and told me that human feces float in the river when they try to take a dip. I mean, it's all too common with hundreds of thousands of people going through that place. The forest is, I mean, it's, I have, it really, it should tug anybody's heart. I think people should spend some time volunteering before they would be let into the forest for any religious reasons. God, God save these forests. Would he?
Look at this bamboo bunch. I don't know what you call a bush of bamboos. But look at this, how huge it is. This thick as bamboo jungle, wherever you see, it's just bamboos. I'm sure Tiger loves the shade and the cover of the bamboos. Everywhere, just bamboos. Oh, Christ. Hi. Geeta, Lata, Mala, Sudha, Vidya, ఏది click కాలేదు. Right hard. Hi. What's your name?
Sumana.
Sumana?
Yeah.
Hi. Couldn't have predicted. And she is?
Sanjana.
Ah, great name. Sumana Sanjana.
This nice family has taken time from their busy lives to be here in the jungle. I'm very happy for the kid, because that's a great exposure, frankly. But sadly, they have no idea that their trip is undercut. The service is not what they were supposed to get, and this, I don't know. I'm The good thing is they don't even know that they are disappointed. I like that kind of expectation.
మీ లక్ చూస్తాము ఇవాళ కనిపిస్తుందా ఏమన్నా అని.
నేను బంద్ వస్తా సార్.
లేదు ఉంటాపట్టు అడగదు. మీ పేరేమి?
నా పేరు సైదు సార్. సైదు.
సైదు. సైదు మీరు ఎక్కడ ఉంటారు?
బైర్లూటి.
మీ ఇల్లు కూడా బయలుదేరి కదా? ఇక్కడ పుట్టిందంతా ఇక్కడే. గూడెం ఉన్నదా మీకు ఇక్కడ?
ఉంది సార్. బైర్లూటి గూడెం అని ఉంది.
బైర్లుటి గూడెం ఉన్నది. ఓకే. అక్కడ ఎవరు ఉంటారు?
ఇక్కడ
బైర్లుటి గూడెంలో
మొత్తం ట్రావెల్స్ ఉంటారు సార్. ఉద్యోగాలు ఇచ్చిన సార్.
నచ్చిందా మీకు? ఇష్టమేనా ఈ ఉద్యోగం?
ఇష్టమే సార్.
దీంట్లో ఏమి ఇష్టం మీకు?
ఫారెస్ట్లో తిరగండి.
మీరు ఎట్లయినా ఫారెస్ట్లోనే తిరిగేది కదా ఇప్పుడు. మీరు తిరిగేదాన్ని పైసలు ఇస్తున్నారు.
పైసలు నెల జీతం ఇస్తారు.
నెల జీతం. దీన్ని ఎట్లా ఇంప్రూవ్ చేయొచ్చు, ఇంకా మంచిగా ఎట్లా చేయొచ్చు, మీ అభిప్రాయం ఏంది? అంటే ఇప్పుడు టూరిస్టులు బాగా వస్తున్నారు, నాలా కాకుండా బయట ఊరు నుంచి కూడా చాలా మంది వస్తారు కదా, తెల్లోళ్ళు వాళ్ళు. వాళ్ళందరికీ ఇప్పుడు ఎక్కువ వస్తే మాకు లాభం ఎక్కువ, పైసలు ఎక్కువ, మీకు జీతం పెరుగుతుంది. ఎట్లా దీన్ని పెంచవచ్చు అంటారు? ఇప్పుడు నేను అడిగిన ఇంకొక రూట్ వేయొచ్చా? మీకు ఈ ఏరియా ఫారెస్ట్ మొత్తం పరిచయమే కదా, ఇంకో రూట్ ఎడిటర్ వేస్తే బాగుంటుంది.
అట్లనే సార్. అసలు అక్కడ ఉంది కదా సార్ ముందర వీరభద్ర స్వామి టెంపుల్.
అవును అవునా.
రూట్
అక్కడ నుంచి చేస్తే బాగుంటుంది.
బ్రిటిష్ బంగ్లా గెస్ట్ హౌస్ ఉంది కదా, ఆ నుంచి స్ట్రైట్గా ఉంది.
గెస్ట్ హౌస్ నాకు కనిపించలేదు.
ఉంది సార్.
ఓకే. ఇప్పుడు ఎక్కడి దాకా వచ్చినాం మనం? అంతా 3 కిలోమీటర్లు అవుతుందా?
వీరభద్ర స్వామి టెంపుల్ ఆగి 5 కిలోమీటర్లు, 6 కిలోమీటర్లు వస్తుంది.
6 అవుతుంది. ఓకే. సో అక్కడ లాస్ట్లో ఆపి దింపుతారు కదా కింద?
దింపుతాం సార్. టెంపుల్ కాడ తీస్తాం.
టెంపుల్ కాడ
ఏమంటే ఎక్కడ ఆపకూడదని పెట్టారు సార్. ఇప్పుడు మధ్య టైర్
ఏది మొన్న కనిపించింది అందుక. ఆ ఒక్క పాపానికి ఎవరు నాపొద్దు అంటారా? జరుగుతూనే కదా మంచిగా ఉంటుంది. ఈ ఏరియాలో ఎవరైనా ఎత్తుకపోయింది ఇక్కడ దాకా?
ఇంతవరకు ఏం కాలేదు సార్.
ఆవులని
బర్రెలను ఆవులని ఎత్తుకపోయింది.
లాస్ట్ ఎప్పుడైంది?
ఆవులని నెల అవుతుంది సార్.
ఏ గూడెంలో?
ఇక్కడ తాండా అని అక్కడ
తాండలు ఉన్నాయి. ఎప్పుడు ఉన్నాయి తాండలు?
అక్కడ ఉన్నాయి సార్.
తాండలు మీ వాళ్ళే ఉంటారు?
లేదు సార్.
ఈ ప్రిమిటివ్ ట్రైబల్ అంటారు, మీరేనా అది లేకపోతే వేరే వాళ్ళ? అది
వేరే వాళ్ళు ఉన్నారు సార్.
అంటే బయట రాని వాళ్ళు?
బయట
మనకు రాయడం చదవడం వస్తుందా?
తక్కువ సార్.
తక్కువ అంటే రాయడం వస్తుంది, చదవడం రాదు. అంటే మీరు ఏం రాస్తారో మీరు చదవలేరు. అట్లా నేను కూడా రాస్తాను.
short stop at Veerabhadra Swami temple, gave some time to stretch ourselves and walk around. I went into the temple hoping to see something interesting.
खान साहब कुछ नज़र नहीं आ रहा,
क्या करें सर, हम लोग भी ट्राई कर रहे हैं।
किस्मत ऐसी है।
इंशाल्लाह देखेंगे सर, कल सुबह को थोड़ा
सुबह इंशाल्लाह।
The temple, although it's dilapidated, it's still functional. Every once in a while, the tribals and the people in the nearby villages, and especially during the Ugadi and Shivratri, people flock in literally millions to this temple on their way to Sri Sailam. The temple is not so well maintained. The forest has claimed most of it. I was trying to find if there is any sign of animal life here, and I did find some porcupine quills.
Chandu said. Okay. Look, what's the light key? Another bottle cap, another plastic. सामे की पढ़ेल बोले ఇంకా పాతాళంగా కొలితి వచ్చారు చెత్తకుండ అది ఉండు గాలి అర్లు.
An interesting note, I collected a few porcupine kills, four or five, and once I was back in the safari jeep, the elderly man, I mean, he's almost my age, screw it. The gentleman asked me if he could have a couple of quills. I was glad to part with. Just then, the tribal Chenchu Saidu, he said that it brings bad luck, so people don't have that in homes. They don't take it and keep it in their homes. It's not a sign. It's really bad omen. So he immediately backed off. He said, like, no, you can have it. I don't want it. So I was only too happy to keep it. I wanted to bring it home. So I gave it to Chandu for safekeeping. And guess what? He promptly disposed of
Look what I found.
the quills without my knowledge. He was consumed by this meaningless, unreasonable belief. Well, India is full of it. Almost everybody falls for all this nonsense. That's because nobody questions anything. Everybody just follows things, traditions, customs. People don't want to use their mind. There's no scientific temper, hardly any. Anyway, I went around looking for a few more quills. I mean, when I find a few quills, my thought goes into maybe there was a fight over something. I was looking for something, that I couldn't see anything. Maybe it just shed off a few quills and ran away. That's what that was that.
బాగా వస్తుంది సార్.
అవన్నీ తెంపుకొని మీరే తీసుకుంటారా అక్కడ?
లేదు సార్,
గవర్నమెంట్కి ఇస్తారా?
కోతులు తినేసి
కోతులు ఏమంటే తింటుంటుంది.
కోతులు తింటాయా?
గవర్నమెంట్కి ఎంత ఇచ్చినా తక్కువనే సార్.
ఒక్క చెట్టు చాలు, మామిడి చెట్టు.
నాకు సిగ్నల్ వచ్చింది, దట్ బెంగళూరు నెంబర్ వస్తుంది. హలో
హలో హలో